In this video, based off of a comment from a viewer, is using the internet to become more like Batman. Before I begin, if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to like and subscribe, follow me on my socials, join my Discord server for updates, and watch my streams Tuesdays to Thursdays on YouTube, 12:30 to 2:30 Eastern Standard Time. In Bruce Wayne's journey to become Gotham's defender, he traveled all around the world, learning from a variety of mentors. However, for most normal people, this is impossible as they do not have the money or time to do this, as it's fucking ridiculous. So to get our version of David Kane, the Master Assassin, Ted Grant, former heavyweight champion and the hero Wildcat, and more, we use the quote-unquote wealth of the internet to help you learn. Also, making sure that it's free or if not at a reasonable price for some of the items necessary. First is strength, for which a good program is Starting Strength. It focuses on low reps and heavy weights, which is why I mentioned this previously in the How to Be Batman in Real Life video. They do have books if you're more of a reader, but that costs money. However, there's free videos on their YouTube channel on proper form, along with common injuries that may occur and how to fix them. Now, this specific program focuses heavily on barbells. So for that, you'll need a gym membership, preferably the cheapest one, that has barbells. However, for instance, Planet Fitness, which is usually very cheap, doesn't have barbells. It has dumbbells, machines, and usually Smith machines. As such, you want to substitute for a different program as long as the whole focus is on building strength. You could also try and purchase some of the exercise equipment, waiting for holiday sales and possibly discount codes from your favorite athletes. However, you want to make sure not to buy the cheapest thing possible to ensure your safety, as if it fucking breaks and it hits you, it can do way more damage that's way more costly. For conditioning, most forms of cardio is great. However, I much prefer Bas Rutten's audio tapes, which have been uploaded onto YouTube. Some of them have videos as well, and they're sectioned off in like boxing, Muay Thai, and all-around combat. They usually break up into like 1-minute rounds or 2-minute rounds or 3-minute rounds with like 1-minute rest in between. If you do have a punching bag or dummy that you can access, that's a perfect way to use it. However, shadowboxing is just as fine. Now, if you have a partner to train with you, I would recommend purchasing some Muay Thai pads. You can take turns running these rounds, holding and also striking, which allows you to both train your conditioning, but also your martial arts. Next is pain tolerance, as Batman gets regularly beat up, and while it's unlikely for most people to experience this, being able to manage pain is still an important skill. I made a video on this topic, which goes over some methods to manage pain, and the inspiration for that video was the anthology movie Batman the Gotham Knight, specifically where it follows Bruce and Cassandra, the person in my video's thumbnail, and there's an interesting compilation of her talking about pain on YouTube, which I find very interesting and almost meditative. Then it's martial arts. Batman knows a shitload of them, so it's hard to cover all your bases, especially because by just watching videos, you will not become a martial arts expert. Instead, it's best to focus on some core components and trying to find a school or gym or even just a sparring partner. As for what videos to follow, I think the videos from the channel Fight Tips is really great. It goes over some basic techniques and footwork. Another is Bas Rutten, who has his own YouTube channel, but in particular, I really liked a video which is about 45 minutes long on his striking methodology where he breaks down his tactics. For example, not twisting the foot when throwing hooks. I tried it myself, and while it felt weird, I couldn't tell any real difference in the power, at least from the noise aspect, so it's probably legit. It would be also nice to watch other professional fighters and pick and choose certain techniques that they use, making sure to understand that some of them might be complicated. For example, a video from Anderson Silva where he went through some drills for his specific style. Next is knowledge, and in that I want to hit a couple of key components that Batman would use. First is business, as Batman's lifestyle is funded heavily by his company, Wayne Enterprises. And while he's not involved in the day-to-day aspects, which is done by Lucius Fox, being comfortable with the business itself is an important factor to have, such as terminology, how certain items are calculated, and being able to find a certain level of mistakes that may occur, along with watching current day events and the effects of it on companies, etc. You don't need to be an expert, but a good way to start is going through something like Investopedia, as it has lots of definitions on different terms, headlines, and even simulators. It may be also useful for you to watch videos on like how to invest, or audiobooks that are free on the internet, like for example The Intelligent Investor, though I have heard it is very difficult to get into if you have no knowledge on the subject matter at hand. The next is general science, specifically its application to real-life possibilities. Being able to slap some shit together in a scenario where you're missing specialized tools or just can't access them, knowing how to adapt and create a new solution is key. While science is a very broad subject to dive into, one could start with the MacGyver Survival Guide based on the 2016 MacGyver reboot. The book, however, costs money, and if you don't want to throw money away like that, alternatively, YouTube searches like MacGyver tutorials or survival DIY tutorials would also be useful. Third is criminology, crime, detective skills, etc. For the latter of detective skills, I made a video on the subject, which you may find interesting. And for the other part, criminology, there are a series of lectures that are fucking long, but if you really want to learn, there are about 19 different videos on a playlist called Criminology Lectures. Are they all useful? I'm not exactly sure because it's not my forte, but it seems like a great starting point to get into the subject matter. And you want to do the same thing with like forensic analysis, forensic accounting, and other aspects of crime solving, as you'd be a one-man police department basically. Fourth is a level of understanding in tech, coding, and other stuff, which again, very broad. All of this is very broad. For coding, there's lots of free videos. I personally liked Coding with Mosh due to his aesthetic style of his videos, but Tech with Tim was also kind of great. Or if you prefer a certificate to follow along with it as a sign of proof of your learning, CS50 courses from Harvard is free and very popular. There seems to be a couple different types, including a general one on Python, AI, law, etc. Each having a different amount of difficulty and amount of time that you need to work on it. And it contains lectures, problem sets, labs to show that you really did the work by submitting the last two things, the problem sets and the labs. Oh, and a final project probably. The normal one could be a nice base into the subject of computer science, but I want to warn you but not dissuade you, but it is going to be difficult like most things, and it requires some good amount of learning, which I made a video on if you're curious on some learning tactics and strategies. As for tech itself, again, super broad, but the first step could be being more comfortable with the machines that you currently use, like your phone, your computer, your laptop. Next step is the ability to reasonably figure out how new devices work based on your previous experiences and making, generalized guesses, videos on the specific device, instruction manuals, and of course trial and error. However, if it's a dangerous device like a fucking bulldozer, it's best to receive formal training so you don't hurt yourself. Lastly is medical knowledge. Please do not do anything dangerous. It's always best to consult and or visit a medical professional and or go to the hospital if you or a companion of yours is injured. However, having some basic medical training, or at least the knowledge of it, would be useful. I personally like the videos from the UF Pro, where they have a playlist of medic essentials and methods, and it seems to fit the Batman lifestyle better because it's for like combat medics. Of course, the video also shows them using specific materials, but normal people don't usually have access to them, unless you buy it for some reason. But doing whatever you can with that knowledge from those videos, if you're like in the middle of the woods, have no cell reception, and no one's coming to save you, it's probably better to risk it than just sit there and die. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my live streams Tuesdays and Thursdays, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and join my Discord server link below.